Hello Sagittarius, welcome to your February 2025 forecast. I hope everybody's doing great. It's really good to see you. You'll notice behind me, beautiful background. This is my cousin's place that I'm staying at, not my home. I get a lot of compliments on it, so I'll pass them along to my cousin. But I'm traveling for the next month or so and just getting some fresh air and figuring out what to do after all of the sort of wildfires in LA. So thanks for your patience. If you're brand new here, this reading is going to help you navigate the whole gamut from the good stuff to the challenges to everything in between. I'm glad you're here. Let's begin here with channeled messages. So before each reading, I tune into your sign, and what I saw for you was the image of a mouse, actually. And mice are very interesting because they're kind of like this, they can get in any situation, in or out of a situation pretty easily. Because if you think about their ability to go under a door or kind of move between a crack in the wall, there is a sort of, it's almost like shape-shifting energy. So one attribute this month that I really like for all of Sagittarius is the ability to create something or get out of something. And I guess there's a little bit of magician energy when you really think about it. Now, mice also carry with them the importance of paying attention to things. So typically when they're in the walls, they're going to kind of eat away at things or create some issues. So this is a really good time when you're looking at any aspect of your life for preventative maintenance. So that means that, like in health, it's a good time to get a physical. If you own a house, it might be a good time to inspect or to do preventative maintenance if there's been something that's squeaky or has been leaking or whatever. Now is the time to fix it before it gets bigger. And then just financially speaking, it's a really good time to look at your overall budget. And if you're not so worried about money, it's about then time and energy, so your schedule. Are you overcommitted? Are you overstretched in any capacity? If so, now is a time to be wiser and to really limit how far you're kind of expending your energy so that you can be more impactful when you choose to put your time and energy into something. The last thing with this is there is a little bit of a sneaky energy, kind of like the Seven of Swords. So sometimes this can just be our own mind saying, oh, I'll do this tomorrow, like procrastination, or, oh, no one's going to notice this, and we slack off. Let's keep above that sort of energy if those thoughts come through your mind. But if there's anyone around you that's kind of exhibiting those traits, check in with them, see if you can kind of get them back on track. And I think this is going to save time and energy down the line. Overall, I really like the initial message, which was about being able to get into something that you want to, like an opportunity, create it or be a part of it, or to get out of something if it doesn't feel right. So let's go ahead now and shift into the tarot portion of this, give the cards a shuffle, and see what's in store. Imagine, if you will, that you're sitting at the beach, that you could trace a circle in the sand around your body, that the sun is directly overhead and it's shining in that circle. So you are protected in all directions and dimensions, and now can call in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. Let's begin. All right, let's begin with your Catalyst card. In the Catalyst here, we have the Bear coming through. It's in the reverse state. It was actually looking at its reflection, and the main messages on this are around protection, courage, and rest. So there's an encouragement right now to take care of yourself, particularly the rest piece. That's the easiest, I think, for almost anybody to overlook. So rather than running yourself to the point of exhaustion, you really want to focus on rest. Speaking up when something doesn't sound or feel right. having the courage to say no. Because actually, if we look at the spread here, we have that here in hopes, fears, and opportunities. A reversed justice card is basically saying no, or she's fighting for what's right. She's having the courage to speak up. So that's already in the cards there. And then the protection piece is really interesting. So for some of you, you might even be trying to figure out when and where to let down your sort of force field. There are times where we do need that protection. There are times where we have to open up to get to know someone, to be a little bit more approachable, to be a little bit more vulnerable. And it does feel like there's a little bit of a balancing act that's happening there. Overall, I like the bear because it's one of the strongest totems you can get. And there also might just be a little bit of an awakening happening, a bear coming out of hibernation, starting to realize, oh, this is what it's about. This is what I want next. So I get that energy as well. The reflective piece here is so important. So some of you might also be drawn to do a little bit more meditation, a little bit more inner work, whether it's to understand yourself, to heal something from the past, or simply to see what's going on. I love the introspective piece. Intuitive development and creativity are running high this month. Let's go ahead now and see what else is in this spread. Okay, so overall, I like where you're headed, particularly since we had such a strong card here at the center. The World card is about as good as it gets. This is a really good card for learning. So I love all of this growth and learning and relationship energy coming through strong. There is healing. There is a choice that needs to be made, a no that might need to be said, but ultimately you're at peace with whatever decision you land on. So that's a little short version of it. Let's go card by card, talk about the centermost, which is the World. This is the last card in the major arcana, meaning that you're finishing up something. It could be a project, it could be a course or school or graduation or retirement, something really big on the horizon. And she's got 1 foot in the old, 1 foot in the new. And so sometimes when you've made the decision or the announcement has happened, but there's still a little bit of time, it can be, challenging to finish it out. So whatever it is, if it's a contract, if it's school, whatever it is, the senioritis sort of thing that comes through, make sure that you are allowing yourself to finish what you've started and do so with a bang. I had a great Reiki teacher once that said, anything that you do in your life is worth doing well. It's a reflection of you, and so just give it your all. This is also connected to travel and to major expansion. So if you're an entrepreneur or if you're looking to create something new, this is as good a card as you can get for launching. And if you are looking at what's next, a move to a different city, state, country, or province may be an integral piece of that because it allows you to see things from a new perspective. As someone who's just spent a couple of weeks in a different environment, I can also attest to that. A change of scenery can absolutely fire all of the neurons in your brain and help you see things from a new perspective. So even if you're just looking at recreational travel, that can also be beneficial. Moving up, moving out, moving on. It's all about expansion. And so when you find yourself in a contracting sort of energy or a reductive energy when it comes to I can't, I won't, or this will never, get rid of those sort of stems of a thought and instead think about how can I, when will I? This expansive sort of thinking is going to bring you much closer to what we see in this card. Plus it's a lot more enjoyable to think about possibilities rather than to focus on what isn't happening. Now, crossing this card comes one of the ways that you may be focusing on expanding, which is education. Three of Pentacles is a card of learning and mastery, and it's specifically connected to training, college, or any sort of outreach program where you're starting to learn and expand your knowledge. This is also a card of recognition. So for those of you that have been working on something for a while, I just mentioned that center card is all about launching. This is people receiving it with open arms, basically. This also reminds you to pay attention to the details, do things well, really put your time and energy into it, and that craftsmanship is going to come across. People are going to see that you did your homework or preparation, especially if you have a conversation or something. All of the hard work ultimately is going to pay off. And if you were just thinking, I'd really love to learn something new, a new language, a new skill, etc., this card is saying, now is a perfect time to do all of that. If you happen to be a writer, this is also great for putting things into a written form. It can be creative, it can also be more technical, but definitely this is a card connected to publishing and writing. Because it's right on top of the world, whatever you're putting your energy into, I really feel like it could move quickly through the channels. As we take a look at the deep past, we have the Four of Wands coming through. This is a very favorable card for friendship, partnership, any sort of connection that you might be forming as well. And what we're seeing here in the deep past is that you've done the work necessary to call these sorts of relationships forth. It feels like you're waiting for someone. It could be a business partnership, it could be a friend, there might be a missing link in some sort of a project or a team, and this is saying be patient. I do feel like that person will come in when the time is right. So if you're beating yourself up and thinking, why aren't they here yet, or why can't I find them? It's really important to just take a deep breath, focus on, again, where the energy is working, and know that you've set the stage to make that connection happen. As we look at some of the other cards, I'm already seeing some potential people that might be coming in, so let's get started on that. All right, first and foremost, let's look at the deep past. The deep past is a call to take care of yourself. Queen of Pentacles in the upright position is like the universal mother. She nurtures, she checks in, she provides. And sometimes that gets a little exhausting. So this is a month where you may be deciding to take care of yourself and ask for some support or receive some assistance and say thank you. It can be a nice thing sometimes to just let someone help you out. What I love about her is she's introspective, and we talked about the importance of being introspective this month. Her eyes are closed, she's very grounded, and she's thinking, what is my point? What am I trying to do with this? And I think that so often we just jump into something without looking at it from all the angles and really getting kind of strategic like we're seeing this Queen of Pentacles do. She's thinking to herself, what is my stake in this? How can I make a difference? Why am I doing it? And when you are intentional and when you are informed, things happen with greater ease and there's not as much pressure because you know yourself. So one thing that is coming through loud and clear, Sagittarius, is know yourself, trust in your instincts, and kind of sit with that whenever you're feeling a little bit uncertain. The crowning card is the Queen of Cups. Now, this can indicate that person that you're calling in, she's showing up here. This can also be an aspect of your own personality. As an aspect of your personality, this is creativity. So oftentimes when I read for an artist, the fact that we have two cards here, this is usually like writing and composing, can also be for music. And this is like for painting, drawing, or any creative endeavor, also dramatic arts. But for all of us, it's just saying, hey, I'm going to use my creative thinking, like the mouse, to get in or out of something. And so this month, when you're met with a challenge or an opportunity, know that you are perfectly capable, because of that creative approach, of succeeding. So use your creativity. And again, it's not just artistic creativity, it's thinking through something, problem solving, right? It does look like many of you have done some work on emotional health, mental health. She's upright. Her head is above water. She's using her emotions as a channel, as an inspiration. She's not beholden to them. So if you're not there yet, there's an encouragement to get there, because this is going to be really useful in all sorts of endeavors and all facets of life. Plus, there's a lot of love that wants to come through. So yes, if you are working on, dealing with some emotional stuff, great. If you haven't yet done that, please take a moment, be proactive, so that we can engage in all of the positive energies that want to come through in February. Okay, we have a traditional and organizational card in the near future. We could see this in a couple different lights if it'll come into focus. Very interesting. It's a stubborn card. There we go. So typically a Hierophant is a very traditional figure. You would see a pope, two disciples, two keys, and it's basically a gatekeeping card. One person says when, where, how, and if. In this one, it's maybe for some of you your first time getting to call the shots, because we have a young Hierophant here. So there's a newness to it. You could be in a new chapter of your life, like a new job, new relationship. This could be your first time on your own, whether it's like you're a student graduating or you're someone who's divorced, now single again, whatever it is, there's something new and uncharted about it. But what I really love about this Hierophant is he's kind of unbothered. He has this sense like it's all going to be okay. I also love the joy in the card. So it's really important to create some space in your life to have some fun, however that might sort of factor out for you. Whether it's going to see a movie or a play or watching something with friends or just spending some time with family. That kind of structure will help you. Now, getting organized, we just have to read it as a traditional Hierophant. I don't see it so much as a gatekeeper, but as an encouragement to create something that you can stick to, an agenda, a priority list, a wish list, something that will help you navigate through this next month to stay on track. I think this is especially true for those of you that might be kind of like at the end of a longer run of something and you're ready to step into something new. So keep that checklist so you don't forget something and just so that you stay accountable. This is also a card of spiritual development. So if you're inclined to learn a little bit more in that particular area, absolutely. Let's take a look at you. Ultimately, the Ten of Swords in the upright position would be one of going through a painful situation, but in the reverse, it's saying you're avoiding it, which is good. So for some of you, you are finally maybe not putting yourself in a situation where you feel like you have to be a perfectionist. So pulling back, knowing when enough is enough. If there's an argument, you don't have to take part in it. She's taking the high road and walking away, which we love. It's also a decision to take better care of your body. So if there's an ache or a pain, you're going to basically talk to a doctor, rest, recalibrate, rather than pushing yourself to a point of injury. So basically with this, I see that you're not necessarily going to step into an old way of doing something, and that's going to save you time and energy. There may be a temptation to do that though, so resist. Resist from engaging in arguments. Resist the need to be perfect or to work, ridiculous hours. And if something doesn't feel right, speak up. It's basically what we've got with that. There could be chronic pain or fatigue that comes back. It does seem shorter and more of a sort of like contained energy since the card is reversed. So that's everything that I'm picking up with that. Now, as we look at the environment, we have a need to make a decision. The Two of Pentacles is a choice. Sometimes it's like a shade of gray. Both of them may feel like, oh, can I just do them both? This card is saying yes, comma, but if you do that, probably exhaustion will set in, maybe the Ten of Swords, maybe it will just not be the best possible work that you do. So what you're being encouraged to do is to put one thing first, finish it, then you can go to the other thing. Don't get torn in too many directions. This can also just be work-life balance. So if you feel like you're constantly on the go and never resting, or the reverse, you're not working hard enough, like it's finding the happy balance. And then balance in general, because we have two balance cards back to back. So if you're feeling any sort of inner ear thing, obviously you'll work with an ENT or a doctor to make sure that everything's all right. If you feel like something is taking you out of your power or out of your balance, that's another area of your life where you really want to speak up and make sure that you're on solid ground, like we saw with the Queen of Pentacles. Tuned in, solid, knowing who she is and what she stands for. And now we have Justice, which is a very important card. I love this illustration because it shows you that yes and no are equally as powerful and equally as important. She's saying no in this illustration. When the card is reversed, her eyes are open and she's looking at something. No, that's not what we talked about. No, this doesn't feel right for me. Or just, no, I don't want to do it. This card also has legal connotations to it. If something isn't being done either to specification or is not following the letter of the law, it's really important to fix that this month and get assistance if you need to. This can also be estate planning or incorporating a business or planning something from a legal perspective. Now is the time to make sure that you're getting a fair deal or a fair bargain and to follow the rules basically when justice comes through. In the outcome, we have the Four of Swords, and we finally see someone that has recovered and recuperated. So if you look here in the corner, you can see that her heart has healed. Right before this, Three of Swords piercing through the heart, she's just fine right now. How did she do it? Putting something to rest, also allowing herself to rest. This is also one of the ways that you can move beyond this. So this is something that you basically might be cutting your losses on something and just saying, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to give myself time and space, and I'm going to rest. Speaking of that, sleep is really important. Sleep, quality, and quantity. I don't necessarily see the stress card, which would be Nine of Swords, coming through on this, but the fact that this came up is saying, give yourself a little bit more time to dream, to daydream, to rest, to sleep. All of those things are going to help you figure things out. Sometimes we just need that time to compute and to clear out the mental cobwebs. All right, let's expand the forecast a little bit and look into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin first with your health card, which is mind, body, and spirit. So interestingly enough, this is one of 3 cards in the suit of cups. We have Queen of Cups in the crowning position. Right here in health, we have the Knight of Cups. And then above it in wealth, we have the King of Cups. Partnership is essential. Whether this is a teacher, a mentor, or a friend, now is the time to really open up and connect with people in your life. The support net, this community, feels like it could be really impactful and really beneficial, especially if you're trying to deal with any challenge that might be in front of you. So this month, really focus on leaning into that network and building it a little bit more. The Son of Cups or the Knight of Cups can also represent a new relationship coming into your life, and this could create some changes. It could create a shift in the balance of what's going on, what you're used to. Maybe not as much peace and quiet as you used to have. So I just wanted to acknowledge that as well. For everyone else, this is just saying this month in particular, you may feel heightened sensitivity. So take it slowly and make sure that you, again, are getting what you need and speaking up when something is lacking. Okay, center card. This is a time to make a move if you've been thinking about it. It could be exactly what you need in order to, sort of get to the next level when it comes to what's healthy, what's happy, what's abundant for you. So changing of locations, changing of jobs, or again, some form of like a rite of passage like graduation or retirement. So this change then brings about this imbalance that we see in justice. To get balanced again, rest is what you need. Also, some of you are ready to let go of the past. There could be an old friendship or an old alliance that is parting ways, but we see multiple new ones that want to come through. And that's kind of how life works sometimes. As much as we would love for everything to stay the same, change is the constant. And when you can lean into it, maybe even affect it or ride the energy of change, that's when things start to feel a little bit more manageable, a little bit more bearable. Queen of Pentacles in reverse is reminding you, it's a historical thing that you've done in the past, some of you, not to overwork, not to overindulge, not to take on too much. Letting go, stepping into new things, and letting other people kind of deal with their own messes is going to be very important. Also here, if there's something that doesn't feel right, protect yourself. If you need to speak up, speak up. But again, it's so interesting that we got the card of rest and this. The bear can be connected with hibernation. Some of you may be having difficulty in falling asleep. So I often need to kind of turn off some of the lights, stop looking at my phone and my computer, and just sort of like breathe in order to bring myself into that meditative state that we call sleep. Do what you need to do, but really pay attention to the habits before bed and the environment around you. Other things that I'm picking up on here is reorganization. So it may be time to sort of like clean the closets, reorganize your room, reorganize your schedule. Because what we really see is the biggest challenge here is a lack of, like you're overextending yourself. So lack of balance, maybe a lack of free time. And what I want you to avoid this month is this. This can end up being burnout, a cold, losing your temper, and it happens because of sensitivity and agitation. So because there's a little bit of heightened sensitivity this month, it's better to pull back. It's better to take care of yourself and take a break, take a holiday, take a rest if you can. I know not everyone can. Balanced exercise and meals also, because we're looking at pentacles here, which is what you're putting into your body. So be careful with that. Otherwise, it feels like it's a pretty good month overall. I think sleep could be the biggest challenge with the Four of Swords and this Oracle card here. All right, let's move on now to the energy of wealth. And as I said, we have another card of cups here. This is good. This is showing that the key to your financial health, to your to more abundance and resources is joy and passion. So great leaders, great salespeople tend to be very engaging. It makes people want to spend more time around them. It makes people more likely to want to invest. This is a card that is the ultimate in receiving. So think of it as a big satellite dish. Open yourself to receive all of this or greater. Already we're off to a great start here. And I feel like also there could be a connection coming into your life, a creative partner or someone that just brings in this sort of passion and helps you connect with it as well. Let's break this down into a few subcategories so we can get a clearer feel for what's going on here. All right, give me just a second. It's a small deck here. All right, so we're going to look at those that are currently employed. Then we'll take a look at entrepreneurs, followed up by job seekers, then students, and finally, retirees. Let's begin with those of you that are currently employed. The Hermit card is good. It's a card of wisdom and experience. The challenge in the Hermit sometimes is it blends in. Some of you do such a good job at working and, kind of keeping things together that people could take for granted the level of expertise and acumen and experience that you bring forth. So, if you can get a little bit more comfortable with like bubbling up or showing them some of that, making sure that it's not so much a well-kept secret, that's going to help you potentially financially in the long run. This is also a great card for those of you that work in an academic environment. The Hermit is very wise, very knowledgeable. This is someone that would be sought after. If you happen to be in a kind of consulting role, even though we're looking at those who have a job, maybe there's like a side gig as well. People are seeking you out. I definitely get that you're the expert or you're the one that can fix it. Just make sure you're getting compensated for that, because as we take a look at the environment, Two of Pentacles shows something that's stingy. This is the expertise. This is the wisdom. More wisdom here. Not enough here. Not enough here. So for those who currently have a job, I think it's a really good time to talk about goals with your employer. Sort of suss out and sort out if they can actually, deliver on those goals. And it could be a little bit of a waiting period, but make sure whatever they say that they can do, you get that in writing. And if you are burned out, if it's too much, if they consistently aren't doing it, it might also be time to turn a new page. But overall, I think you're amazing here with Hermit energy, the knowledgeable Three of Pentacles, the organized Hierophant, the expansive world, the creative Queen of Cups. You bring a lot to the table, so don't sell yourself short. If you want something, ask. If you're ready for something, speak up and remind them of what you bring to the table. One of the cool things is if they were to ask around, Four of Wands energy in the deep past shows me that people respect you. So this is a good time to begin the conversation. It may not happen immediately, but I feel like you could tip the scales in your favor. Okay, so we were just looking at those who have a job. Now let's look at those who might own their own company or who are an entrepreneur of some sort. Judgment's great. Judgment represents the ability to go beyond. So let's say for some of you, you might have just purchased a new company, reorganized your company, or you're ready to make a major change. Typically, this would be judgment, not karma, but karmically, energetically, and just from the cards themselves, it's saying it's time to do something different. This is not a time to rinse and repeat. There are areas of opportunity right now. A couple of things that I want to highlight. You might be a little bit burned out. If you're burned out, it's time to staff up a little bit if you can afford it. Fiscally, it looks like there may be something that needs to be changed or cut or reorganized. So if you are putting a lot of energy into a project or a service or a product and it's not returning, focus on what is, because it does feel like resources are crunched out a little bit. If you have something and you're trying to sell it under the market price, you can't do that forever. Try to let people know that your product is valuable, and fewer sales, better price point, fewer products, but better products overall. Definitely take a look at the legal organization of the company. If there's any documents that need to be signed, anything that you need to file, now is the time to do it. It could be a quiet first quarter, but I feel like there's so much that wants to come through. So you're at judgment. The world is starting to happen, but it might be 1, 2, or 3 months away from kind of like really seeing the return on what you're doing. So work hard, delegate when you can, make sure that you're not underselling or undervaluing your products and services, and that's going to go a long way. All right, so many cups. We have another one here. If you're looking for work, we're starting to get like a person or personality type that's coming through. First of all, you're very creative, or your creative approach is what's appreciated. Also, you could win it on personality. So when all things are equal, I used to be a hiring manager, you usually go with the person that had the best attitude. If there's equal, sort of backgrounds and skills, or the person that just has the best approach or best energy. So your attitude, your gratitude, and your personality can win you what you're looking for. You might also be connecting with a creative person that's looking for that same energy. water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, keeps coming throughout your whole reading. And you're also being asked to go with the flow. So you may prepare every little thing for that interview, but when you get there, it's a different person. The questions kind of go in a different direction. Keep your cool. Just answer to the best of your knowledge. Smile, breathe, pause. So one of the great things I took a public speaking class in high school. One thing that they said is if you don't know, just take a deep breath, pause, look insightful, say something like, that's a great question. It reminds me of this. You'll think your way through it. Don't worry about it. They're looking for that ability to be fluid, to be present, and not to sort of like get too emotional, okay? That's what I'm seeing with this. What else is coming through? Well, a couple of things. First of all, there is, and this is true of also those that are already in a company, but there's this there could be a gatekeeper that is making it difficult, because I feel like I can kind of see there's like 3 people that you might interview with. I feel like the water sign likes you. The earth sign wants more. They want to see more in the resume. And this person just wants to make sure that you'll follow the rules. So for those of you that might have 3 people or 3 interviews or 3 different things that you have to kind of fill out on your form, that's what they're looking for. The Queen of Pentacles is the hard one. She wants to see that you can make them money or that you can adhere to like the bottom line. They're really interested in facts and figures. So one thing that you want to pay attention to in interviews is making sure that you understand what's expected of you from a deliverable standpoint. And if they're experiencing any challenges, come to the interview with ideas and let them know that you've thought about that as well. Many of you always want to just know, can I find a job? Yes, but I think the biggest option might come from a move. So if you're willing to relocate, travel, or kind of go outside of your current industry, the world opens up to you. Education can also assist you in finding it, or some of you are going into an academic environment. There is one job, and it's all kind of in the same energy here, and I'd like you to try to avoid it. I see overtime, I see lower pay, I see someone who isn't valuing the work-life balance, and it may not even be that interesting. So I'd rather you stretch out a little bit and get paid what you're worth, have that creative energy, and it may take you a little longer to get to the top here, but I feel like this is a better option here. You would find it from an existing network. Something here may look flashier or something, but when you dig deeper, it's not what it sort of initially looks like. Okay, let's go to students now. Your mind is somewhere else. We have the 2 of Wands coming through. It's daydreaming. It's thinking about the next step. So much like I said earlier, it's really important to be right here, right now, to finish what you've started. And then, keep dreaming. The dreaming is good, but don't let it get in the way of the doing. There is a little bit of business that needs to be finished, and then you can really have some fun with this. 2 of Wands in reverse is saying, don't limit how far your dreams could go. Like when you're thinking of potential career types, one thing that I've seen just over my short lifetime on this planet is how much technology has changed the landscape. So I've been in it at the beginning of the internet, sort of .com bubble. Then I watched it as it matured into more of an application-based environment. Now I'm watching AI step into the field as well, and it just keeps changing. So just because something isn't possible now doesn't mean within 3 to 5 years. It's kind of shrinking. Maybe even 1 to 3 years, something couldn't be possible. So I'd love for you to go into the dreamer energy and think, my ideal job or impact in the world. Some people want to change people's lives, so they create things for people. Like some people want to heal themselves, so they might work on that. Some people want to heal the planet. What's your purpose? What's your goal? What's the big dream? Don't give it up. And start to think of the way technology could work into that mix as well. For those of you that are retired, we have the Queen of Wands coming through. This is a time to do something that truly inspires you, that keeps your mind active and keeps you sort of engaged. This could include, by the way, freelance work, because Queen of Wands is a great boss. And even though you're retired, you may be asked to, give advice or be a consultant. I definitely see that if you're looking for it. Otherwise, this is just following your passion. And other things that I see here are a need to step back if you are overextended and really just focus on what gives you a sense of peace and rest. And some of you are just very ready to travel, so you might need to say no to some of this in order to open up some of that. All right, let's go ahead now and move on to love and relationships. We have the Nine of Wands here, which is really interesting. This is showing that many of you have worked hard in your relationship to get past challenges, or you've worked hard on yourself to help call in new relationships. With all the Cups cards, I can see that. Let's go ahead and break it down and see what else is coming through. Before I do that, one last note. Oftentimes, the Nine of Wands can represent overthinking, sometimes to the point of it's like giving you a headache or too much in your headspace. So one last note here is to kind of like what we were talking about with going with the flow. Same thing here, allowing things to be more fluid, less structured, less rigid. All right, let's take a look at 3 categories. Look at those of you that are in a relationship, looking for love, and single and happy. All right, we're gonna start off with those that are in a relationship. Lots and lots of synchronicities this month. So we have Queen of Pentacles here, Page of Pentacles here, both of them reversed. This is a month when you should speak up for yourself if you need something. And also don't be afraid to take care of yourself, nurture yourself. Do something that provides a sense of purpose, grounding, and just basically makes you feel connected. Now, there is also a general note here that there may be someone in your life that is more willing or ready to take than give. So one of the things that we saw with these 2 balance energies here is to find a way to make sure that there's more give and take, that it's equal as possible. A child could be entering into the mix. This is definitely the child of the Queen of Pentacles. So if you're looking to conceive, now is a great time to do so. Some of you might be on the heels of an argument in an existing relationship. If I'm to look at the sort of communication styles, it's kind of interesting because, again, we're picking up on this energy of someone that takes a little more and here's someone that gives a little more. I also get a very conservative energy possibly attached to this, so someone that's a little rigid and unwilling to bend or flex unless absolutely necessary. So try to find common ground and work past that if possible. The main thing here is negotiation is your is your best friend. Try not to sort of meet fire with fire. If there is an argument, try to have good boundaries, say no, speak up, stand up for yourself if necessary, and then try to find the common ground where compromise is really going to be the key to success. There may be major life changes going on right now with you and your partner. Generally speaking, I feel like it's for the best and it's navigatable, but there's something here with miscommunication that you want to be mindful of. So try to elevate communication whenever possible, and if you need something, ask. Moving on to those of you that are looking for love, there's a little bit of healing to be done first. Focus on emotional healing and well-being. If there's anything that you have been ignoring, it may come to the surface right now. So deal with that first. And I do feel like it could even just be physical pain. It could be emotional, but whatever it is going on in your body, in your mind, in your environment, this is the first course of action. A Libra could be entering into the mix if you're looking for love. The only thing that I see here is, do you have the energy for it right now? Four of Swords is a little fatigued. So make sure that you rest up. I see traditional values, a different sort of background, possibly different city, state, country, or province. And it does feel like passion is there, but you can't force it. I feel like one or both of you is in the process of recalibrating your life right now. So towards the latter part of this month, almost 4 weeks into it, it feels like that's when you can start to connect with either water or this potential Libra that wants to come forth as well. If you're single and happy, good for you. We have the Star card coming through. This is allowing you to step into a moment of authenticity, of power, and say, you know what? This is my moment. This is what I want to do. Great. Spiritual development, creativity, and again, alignment to life path, which is really powerful. So some of you have finally figured out what it is that makes you tick. Don't change or dim your light for anybody, okay? Now, let's take a look at your Destiny card. We have Six of Cups. This is very nice for love and relationships. What I love here is we see as above, so below with the tree and the roots. Just because things are, like I said earlier, there might be something that's so subtle, the amount of energy and wisdom and insight that you bring forth, that sometimes people take that for granted. So make sure in relationships that both sides get to be seen and appreciated. Six of Cups is usually very jubilant, and it's the inner child coming through. Two children, two cups, eye to eye, face to face, cup to cup. Whether or not you're looking to sort of meet new people or network, there's a really attractive force coming through this month where you can do it with greater ease. So sometimes I say mix and mingle. This is a month where you can definitely do that. And also you may be deciding to reconnect. This could be a second chance for some of you to reconnect with an old family member, an old friend, an old partner. And in this case, I would say if it works out this time, that's fine. Sometimes I say leave the past in the past, but it looks okay here. So there's a reunion or perhaps even like some sort of healing energy that wants to come forth. And that's always a beautiful thing. All right, we have a chance now to look at one final question, one final card. So go ahead and meditate on whatever it is that you need clarity on. I'm going to shuffle the cards and let's see what Spirit has to say. For your final question, you got the Tower in reverse. I like to see this as a moment to deconstruct, reconstruct, or reorganize. So if you are asking, should I make that change? Yes, but do the planning, really get prepared for what it's going to take to make it happen, and then ride that energy of change. This is also simply a call to action. For those of you that might be trying to push something off, this is the time to take care of it instead. We want to be proactive with any type of repairs, any sort of health issues. It's better to deal with it when it's smaller and more manageable than when it starts to sort of balloon into something bigger. And this could just be a call to clean your house, clean your finances, or clean your energy up a little bit. Sometimes the Tower can just represent that sort of chaotic or messy sort of surroundings. So this is a good time for clearing, cleaning, and organizing. And that, I think, is why the Hierophant energy came forth as well. If there is a move, prepare for the move. If there's any major change or movement, prepare. Tower energy shows you that it could be a little bit bigger, a little bit more, a little extra. And so you always want to have contingency to make sure that you're prepared. And that's everything for this month. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what resonated most for you. Also, you can give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. NicholasAshbaugh.com on Blue Sky. And of course, you can go to my website if you need more information. For those that would like to give back in the form of super stickers, super chat, or memberships, thank you in advance. It helps me do all of the things on the channel, like the podcast, anything where I have to put basically all of my own energy and finances behind it. I appreciate it. I always put it back into the channel, so thank you in advance. And a quick reminder, I don't give private readings, so if you see anybody pretending to be me out there, block, report, let me know about it. And I wanted to end with some gratitude and this cute little guy who just got up from his nap, so he's all scruffy. Thanks everyone for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. By the way, speaking of my podcast, if you haven't checked it out, it's on the main channel page. Give it a listen. Let me know who you might like me to interview next. Until I see you next, take care.